So today we're going to be continuing to play Doodle Empires. Now in the last Doodle Empires video, I asked you guys to get us to 2,000 total likes on that video in order to get a part 2. We obviously blew right past that and we got to 3,000 likes. And I'm a man of my word, so we're back playing this game. And of course last time this was the new map of Europe that we made down here in the Balkans, more specifically Greece and Turkey. There are a ton of new civilizations here which we're going to continue to expand upon, make go to war with each other, since we're in the age of conflict after all, and a ton more. So if you guys do enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're trying to get to 200,000 subscribers by August 1st. We're around 9,000 away. So if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. Let's try to get this video to 3,000 likes for a part 3, and let's go ahead and jump straight into it. So last time we saw a few things happening, but most notably, you know, we had the red team, which is the Macedonian team, and then we had the blue team over here, which was the Mamaran team. So like I said, let's just go ahead and jump straight into it. Our first random nation we get is the blue team. We're going to draw a card for them, and they're going to get a split. Now, unfortunately for the blue team here, they've had quite a few splits coming off of them, and it looks like that's not going to be changing today. So welcome to the map, orange team. You guys will be taking over this part of the blue team. I think what I want to do is push them up against this river here. I think that will be natural, nice and natural. We like natural things. We're going to call this country the Sinop country. There's a city in Turkey named Sinop, and then that is exactly where their capital will be. So Sinop once again, and here we have our fresh new country. So now I randomize on over to Albania. What they're going to be getting is a large expand. Now these guys are flatlanders, which makes this kind of difficult. So instead of having them expand into the mountain ranges of the Balkan Peninsula, let's have them jump the coast on over into Italy. Albania will be the first country in the Italian peninsula, and they will set up a nice little colony over here, kind of following the ocean, going down, avoiding the mountainous areas, of course, because once again, they are flatlanders, but that won't stop them from pushing up against the mountains like this. And then honestly, we can kind of do like a Venetian little empire here. They're just going to jump around the coastal areas, not daring to go into the mountain ranges of the Balkans. And I think that's going to work out well for us. Now, Albania, all of a sudden, they have become a very large and very prominent country over here, and they're definitely going to have a major role in connecting the Balkan or Southern Balkan world into the future Western European world whenever or if ever we get there. Once again, need 3,000 likes on this video for part 3. I don't usually ever do like goals, but since this series is super popular with you guys, we're gonna do like goals because I'm pretty confident we can get it anyway. Anyway, we now get the green country, and they're gonna get a new nation. So this is actually a little bit different because instead of expanding or making two countries go to war, we're just gonna create a new one. And at this point, you know, like realistically, new countries don't really just pop up. They're usually breakaways. But since this is, you know, a game where we can just do whatever we want to do, we're gonna do whatever we want to do. But this new nation will be down over here in Mesopotamia. I feel like that since we chose the green team, we should make the new nation kind of near the green team. So the story here, I guess, is that a few people, or maybe hundreds of people, or maybe the green team in total, just, you know, funded a new civilization or nation to pop up over here on the Tigris or Euphrates. I'm not sure which one it is, to be honest. But they're going to follow this area, kind of staying within the Fertile Crescent and being a river civilization such as this down here in the Middle East. Now, of course, this isn't in Europe. This is in Asia. But once again, we chose the green team, so I feel like we should make the new nation near the green team. Now, I did a little research. This is around the Euphrates River, so we're going to be calling the nation Euphrates. And then as for their capital, there really aren't any like major cities along the Euphrates in this area of Syria. So we're going to be making these guys capital all the way down here, and it's going to be named after this Syrian city or village or town. I'm not too sure what it is. It's called Ar-Raqqa. Definitely did not say that right. I'm so sorry. Anyway, though, this is what our map's looking like now. Pretty vast, getting kind of expansive, but it's not enough. We're now in the red Macedonian country, and they're going to get a medium expand. Now for Macedonia here, they're also flatlanders, much like everyone else on this map. So what we're going to be doing with them is that we're going to be, well, expanding them down into the flatlands of this area of the Greek peninsula. They're now sharing this area with the yellow team, who broke away from them in the previous part or episode or whatever you want to call it. We now get the pink team. They're going to get a large expand. Now, these guys are huge. Are there any pink team supremacists in the comments below? Let me know once again what your guys' favorite countries are, or I guess more specifically nations, since countries aren't really technically a thing yet, more so just civilizations or settlements. But anyway, let me know your guys' favorite nations in the comments below. I can definitely see that a few people will probably start to like the pink team pretty soon, as they're becoming one of the largest, if not the largest nation on this map. The Bulgarians, very scary. But now we get the blue team. We're going to go ahead and get them. They're going to get a new leader. I really don't know what that does for us, so I'm just going to draw another card, and they're going to get a large expand. Now the blue team here is going to go on a conquest, because once again, we are in the age of conflict. So these countries likely aren't going to be expanding into other land, but more so expanding into each other. So we should probably do something with that. And unfortunately for the pink team, I was just talking about them, but they're going to be subject to invasion by the blue team, who will be crossing the river and invading their southern portion. Now they'll likely just be sticking to the land under this river here, which means I gotta get the small brush out to make sure that I do this right. But there we go, they take the southern portion of the pink team, but the blue forces aren't just gonna stop there, of course. They're going to continue to invade into the pink team, now going right under their capital, but fortunately for the pink team, they will surrender in time to the blue team's forces, who will eventually stop their advance and create this new border with the pink team. Ignore this little dot, I misclicked. Anyway, the blue team is now looking something like this, expanding into the greater Bulgarian area and certainly threatening the existence of the pink team. But now we get the orange team, and for them they get a large expand. Now these guys are interesting because I'm not too sure what I want to do with them. I didn't check what their characteristics are, so I'm not sure if they're flatlanders. They probably are, and they do have a large expand here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do two things. First of all, we're going to expand them along the coast of the Black Sea, but then we're going to push them inland, more specifically following this major river here down into the center of Anatolia, which is a newer area that hasn't really been fully colonized yet, as you can see, but we're working on that. We're going back to Albania now, and what we get for them is a small expand, so we're going to do exactly that. In fact, they're going to do a little bit of a military incursion into the red team, taking out some of their recently gained land over here on the coast. The red team's armies will not respond to this because they I don't know, they just won't respond to it. Based purple team, good stuff. We now get the Euphrates nation, who will be getting a medium expand. So let's go ahead here and try to do some realism. We're going to connect them up with the green team to kind of show that they indeed maybe broke away or something like that. But there's that, and then we're just going to follow this river going over here. These guys are a river civilization, and I randomly selected them again. Cool. They're going to get a new leader. All right. Like I said earlier, we're just going to not do the new leader stuff, and we're going to get a small expand instead. So continuing to work on these guys here, we're going to start to push them up into the Anatolian region, into the mountains of Turkey. And then, you know, maybe we'll start to fill in some of this area around their capital to give it a little bit more realism. Now we get the yellow team. We're going to draw a card for them, and they're going to, nothing's going to happen apparently. We get the Age of Conflict once again. So we're still fighting wars with each other apparently. And, oh no, unfortunately for the yellow team, they're going to get a small split. Well, I think right about now would be a good time to create a nation of Crete, which is what we're going to be doing. So obviously we're going to call these guys Crete, and their capital will be right on over here in the city of Chania. We now get the Macedonians on our random select, and they're going to get a small expand. So I think here what we're going to do is that we're going to start to kind of just fill in the rest of the Greek peninsula. So I mean, it's almost already completely filled in. Whoa, hello Libya. But I'm more so talking about down here in this area in this Greek peninsula. I should probably learn the name of. Might be important for this mini series. But there we go. The red team fills in the rest of the unclaimed land. But now instead of expanding into the mountains, because once again the red team is a flatlander team, they're going to be expanding into the blue team, moving into recently occupied pink team land. They now push up against this northern river and push all the way over to its eastern entrance to the sea. And there we go, a little bit of territorial expansion for the red team. So we now get the yellow team, and they're going to get a new leader, so we're just going to go ahead and pass on right on over that. We're going to select them again, and now they get a medium expand. So what the yellow team is going to be doing here is they're going to be invading the recently annexed areas of the red team. So a lot of land here going back and forth between these countries, but nonetheless the yellow team has a successful military campaign to take over this entire peninsula for themselves. And on top of that, they also expanded their coastal claim around this area. I'm sorry, I have a speech impediment apparently, but there we go. Here is the new yellow team, or as I like to call them, Greece. And we get the purple team again, and they're going to get a small expand. So I think once again, sticking with the theme of the Age of Conflict, we're going to invade the red team. These guys are going to send their troops on down and take over this entire western coast of the red team, kicking them out of their access to this large body of water over here. And then additionally, we're going to push them up further into Italy, now going into this area of Croatia, getting into Slovenia eventually. These guys are very quickly becoming some sort of Adriatic empire. It'll be interesting to see if they have any countries break away from them and start to form their own kind of Western European ideology. Because once again, we have this thing called the origin map. We can see what the origin of all these countries are. They all came from the red team. They all came from Macedonia, technically. But the yellow team broke away and formed its own origin in the last video. And then we also saw Crete break away from the yellow team. So they're also technically, the origin of them is from the yellow team. And then we saw this new civilization over here, the Iraq? We're gonna call it Iraq. But they obviously formed their own thing as well. And honestly, this city might not be right here. It might be up here. I might be stupid. I might have misplaced that. I don't know. Any Syrians in the comments, correct me, please. There's also the, once again, the faith map. And at this point, we also only have two religions. We have the Redism religion, or my bad, Redianity. And then we have Purpleism, which is the religion of the Adriatic country over here, or Albania. But now we get the green team over here, and they're gonna get a small expand. And instead of invading the brown team or the teal team over here, we're just gonna have them move into the inland area. More specifically, kind of over here in the Middle East though, because I feel like we should get some Middle Eastern expansion. That'd be good for, well, that would just be good in general. Oh, the pink team just got a split. That's unfortunate. And to be honest with you, I'm not too sure where the split would actually occur at. So let's just make it over here in the western area, something like this. Kind of going up on this river and then cutting over. I do want to make these countries have nice borders, so I'm going to go back over it with a smaller brush, but I think something like this works. Yeah, that works. Cool. So now we have the lime team over here, and they have a little bit of an enclave within them, but we're just going to ignore that. That was a misclick on my part. This will be the Danube country, and their capital will be right around here where the three rivers meet. And it's going to be whatever this is. That is Bulgarian, or maybe it's Romanian. Yeah, sorry, it's Romanian. But this is a tiny little town in this part of Romania. So if you're from there, congratulations, you made it into the series. Anyway, so far in this video, we've seen civilization kind of start to branch out from the birthplace, which was Macedonia. More specifically, we saw the purple team start to move up the Adriatic coast and into towards Central Europe. And then we also saw the orange team start to push over towards the Caucasus, and we saw the teal team pop up in the Middle East. So there's definitely been a whole lot of outward expansion. But anyway, we now randomly select over to the pink team, and they're going to be getting a small expand. Now the poor pink team here has been pushed way back from where it started, and feeling threatened by its neighbor, more specifically the blue team, they're going to move up this coast, now heading towards Ukraine and wrapping around the coast of the Black Sea, entering on into Crimea over here. Now this of course is a little bit different. We don't usually see civilizations kind of just branch out and follow the coast like this. Ignore what I just said, actually. The purple team did exactly that. But in this manner, to where, you know, their population center is down here, and most of their people are over here, but then we have this weird kind of, you know, outskirt thing. Anyway, that's what these guys are going to be looking like now. We now randomly select the orange team again. There's a few countries which we haven't selected yet, I believe. So it's interesting how we keep getting these same countries, but they get a split, which is really unfortunate. But realistically, the split would most likely come over here in the regions that are closest to the blue team, which is also more likely than not the more populated areas of this country. But anyway, we're not going to make them huge because I don't want to take away too much land from the orange team. So we'll do something like this. Maybe, yeah, there we go. Perfect. And as far as the name of this country, it will be this. Do I try to pronounce that? Is it even worth trying to pronounce that? Zonguldak. Zonguldak? Zonguldik. No, not that one. Zonguldak. We're gonna go with that. That's what this country is gonna be named. And much like other countries, it's named that because there is a city somewhere around here that's also called Zonguldak. And yeah, so there we go. There's our new country. And also another thing that I should probably mention is that we need to probably add some more major cities in, because at this point, the population of the world is probably rapidly increasing, especially with how far out civilization is starting to branch out. But we're not going to mess with that just yet. We're going to continue to go through the turns and get through the Age of Conflict, and then maybe I'll think about it. Anyway, we get the Lime team up here. We're going to draw a card for them, and they get a small expand. And instead of going to war with someone, which would get them all killed, they're just going to be, you know, chill and follow this river over here, maybe do some expansion into this plain area, and there we go. We get the pink team again. They get a medium expand, so they're going to be able to push themselves inland a little bit, which is exactly what I'm going to do with them. And then I think we're also going to start to fill in Crimea a little bit, just to give some extra flavor to this area. I don't know if flavor is the right word. I think vibrance is a better word. I just got the pink team again. I'm going to veto that. We're going to go to a different country. I got them again. I just got them twice in a row. Okay, there we go. Now we get the purple team, and they're going to get a medium expand. So I think at this point, the only thing that we should really be doing with them is finishing off their coastal claims. Venice has nothing on Albania here. They're outdoing Venice. Speaking of Venice, they're also a part of Albania, so they really can't say anything. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap the purple team down here around the boot of Italy and just maybe fill it in like this. We'll also give them some land over here in Sicily just because. Maybe we'll give them those islands. We get the orange team again, and they're gonna be forming a union. Interesting. I guess this country was very short-lived. Maybe they sorted out their differences and they made up. So now the orange team is united again. Okay, we finally finally get the brown team down here. And we get new nation, so never mind. We don't get any expansion for them, unfortunately. But what we do get is a new nation, and I think I have a pretty good idea for what we're gonna do with this. Because instead of putting it somewhere like, you know, over here in the Middle East, or up here in Ukraine, or maybe even over in Italy, we're actually gonna nestle this new nation right where it all started, near Macedonia in these mountains. Because I think we're gonna have our first actual nation here that isn't Flatlander, meaning that they don't have an obsession with white pixels on the screen, as you can see. Instead, they'll like the darker ones, the gray colors. And these guys are actually kind of a large nation, not gonna lie. Anyway, this nation, now bear with me here to my Greek viewers or Albanian viewers, but we're gonna call these guys North Macedonia, if I could spell it right. There we go. And I know this isn't exactly where North Macedonia is, but deal with it. And their capital city will be the capital city of actual North Macedonia in real life, which is Skopje, or Skopje. Skopje? Feel free to correct my pronunciations in the comments below. And once again, I'm not very confident about the placement in this nation. Like, I don't really know if that's where the actual capital is, or if it's up here. But once again, we're just gonna have to deal with that. My American geography skills are showing. Okay, now we get the green country, and I feel like, yeah, we're gonna get a small expand for them. So unfortunately for the teal country here, they're going to get invaded just a little bit by the green team. They're gonna reach on over to this river here and take over control of it, and maybe that, you know, controls trade around this country now, which could hurt them or not. You know, it's whatever you want it to be, really. Oh, we get the purple team yet again. I wonder where they're gonna get. Ah, yes, a medium expand. Perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and push them up against the Alp Mountains up here in the north of Italy, and then we're gonna push them down along these islands in actual Italy. And then really, you know, it's just kind of filling in these little white areas, because once again, these guys, they are Flatlanders, which means that they are going to like the white pixels more than they like the gray pixels. I just got them again. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. We get the blue team. They get a large the blue team gets a large expand, and unfortunately for a few nations, that means that they're going to be invading them, since we are still in the age of conflict, or I guess this is technically the second age of conflict, or maybe the third. Is this the third one? I don't know, but they're going to be expanding into the lime team up here, kind of just following this river once again, and now reaching on over into the mountainous region of this area. Kind of just, you know, barely moving up north. But the main portion of their forces are going to be working on the orange team on over here, as the blue team gains control of this major city and takes it away from the orange team, now integrating it into their civilization instead. This game really wants me to mess with the purple team. You know what, screw it, we'll do it again. They get a small expand. And we're just gonna kind of be pushing them around Italy. Maybe we'll get the Malta. Are these guys like the colonizers of this world? Or are they gonna be the first ones to, like, you know, reach on over to the Corsican and Sicilian islands? Or not Sicilian, Sardinian. And then on over here to like Spain. There's a really good chance that the purple team becomes like the nation very soon, because they're huge. And it's only a matter of time until like population starts to spread across this thing, and all of a sudden this entire like body of water is rich. Maybe even like in the far future, what we see is like some kind of Eastern Western war, where the Eastern nations are kind of tired of the old ways of the Western nations, and there's some kind of, you know, large conflict between the two. I mean, really, there's a lot of possibilities with like what the purple team is doing, and not only with what the purple team is doing, but just like what, you know, we can do with this map, because we can do anything with the map. But we now do get Macedonia, so we're going to select them, draw a card, and they're going to be adopting a religion. That makes no sense. They already have a religion, so we're going to draw another card instead. And this is the last turn of the Age of Conflict, so what we get is a build castle. Okay, that's the first castle we're building. That's interesting. But the red team will be building a castle right here at their entrance. Whoa, that's way too zoomed. Actually, how are we zooming in that much? That is an insane zoom. Anyway, like I was... Oh my god. Anyway, like I was saying, we're going to be building this fort slash castle right here at the entrance of this river. And this will be Fort Enes, which is a city or town or development that is right near the border of Turkey. And there we go. We have our first castle. Now, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to be doing with the castles as far as storytelling goes, or, you know, if there's any lore with them. If you guys have any ideas of what I should be doing with the castles, let me know in the comments below. I mean, maybe it's like, you know, showing the military might. You know, the more castles you have, the stronger your military is. Which at this point, you know, the red team is the only country with a castle. And honestly, that kind of checks out, since they were the first country. They're most likely the most populated and developed country, so them having the strongest military at this point wouldn't be too surprising. Anyway, we get the green team now, and they're going to do a small split. And I think this will be pretty obvious, but we're going to go ahead and give Cyprus independence, or at least try to give it independence if we have enough brush, which I think we do. So Cyprus gets its independence away from the green team, and obviously this country will be named Zimbabwe, and then their capital will be where the real capital is in real life, which is this, whatever this word is. guys. Anyway, we get the new country over here. We get North Macedonia, and what they're going to be doing is they're going to be getting a large expand. Now, these guys are, once again, they are mountainous. So we get to actually expand them up north into this area, which the purple team and the red team have refused to touch. And they're going to have an absolute field day because there is no other nations up here stopping them from doing all of this expansion. What we also might do is just say that maybe there was a little tiny bit of a military incursion into the purple team, of which the green team here, or the dark green team, took control of the entrance into this river. Are there any actual like realistic benefits to doing this to Albania? Not sure. Will there be consequences for this action? More than likely, but that is for a later time. So this is what their expansion looks like. They're now probably one of the larger countries in the inland. Anyway, we get the pink team. They're going to form a union, and honestly, you know, they're going to unite with the lime team. I feel like that's kind of, well, maybe not realistic because they split away, but maybe they figured the whole thing out, you know, maybe like kind of similar to what happened down here with the orange team and the former cyan team. They figured it out and united together. Maybe that's what happened up here with the pink team. But as per usual, we do have to go ahead and demote their former capital city and just make it a major city of the pink team. So now they have two. We now get the red team again. So let's hope that, yeah, they get a small expand. The red team here is going to go on a reconquest, pushing into both the purple and yellow teams and taking back land which was taken from them previously, or in a previous turn. They don't go back down into the southern peninsula because they have no interest in doing so, but they do take back all of this land and maybe even a little bit more. But the red team is going to be doing their best to move into this hilly / mountainy area over here, as there really isn't too much more areas for them to expand to without having to go to war with one of their neighbors. So much similar to the red team, we're just going to kind of push them inland here, going into the more mountainy areas. These guys, once again, they are, oh no, they're mountaineers. Okay, so this must have changed because originally these guys were flatlanders. So I guess what happened is we got a turn where there was a new leader selected, and when you get these new leaders, they often come with new traits. So these guys are conquerors and they're mountaineers. That's something we can kind of start to factor in a little bit more. But yeah, looking through here, once again, all of these nations are mostly flatlanders. The blue team is hill dweller, but yeah, every other nation is mostly flatlanders except for these guys. Unfortunately, these guys are mountaineers and they're nowhere near any kind of mountain. I mean, they are, but not their capital city at least. Also, these new guys, I was hoping that they would be mountaineers, but it turns out they're actually flatlanders, so they're in a really horrible spot. Anyway, we now get the yellow team here. We're gonna draw a card for them, and they're gonna be forming a union, and unfortunately for the Cretan nation down here, they're most likely going to be the ones that get united with, and that's what we have happening here. So Crete ceases to exist at the dismay of probably many of you, but the yellow team is officially back, so that's good. We now get the brown team here. Hopefully they, nope, okay, they, I was hoping that they would really get their expansion going, but no. Instead, they get origin diverged, which means that they are no longer considering themselves of red descent. Kind of an interesting thing to do here, kind of abandoning your history, abandoning your heritage most certainly, and forming your own culture or your own, I guess, ethnicity or origin, which is what it's called. So we now have the brown origin, the yellow origin, the green origin, we have the teal origin, and then we have the main red origin, which technically all nations came from, but like I said, sometimes they like to diverge their origin. Anyway, we get the pink team here, and they're going to get small expand. So we're just gonna kind of do what we did earlier and just thicken their coastal areas and make them more, I guess, realistic. Is realistic the word that I'm looking for? Probably not, but we're doing it anyway, and they're now looking something like this. We get the purple team, joyous days. I sure do love making purple team expansions. Earlier I talked about how this would have consequences. The consequences have now arrived, and the consequences are a little bit brutal. The Albanians are going to invade into the green team, which is located in their core area, so they obviously want to defend that, but they're mostly pushing up against this river here, kind of overlapping it right here. My bad on that one, guys. But yeah, basically they just kind of get themselves some insurance. And then we get the green team, so let's see what they get. They get a split. That's really unfortunate. So we'll be giving them a new nation down here in the south. I guess this would actually more so be North Macedonia than this. Well, maybe. Honestly, I'm not too sure where North Macedonia is. Does it even exist? Are we sure that North Macedonia exists? Is it real? Guys, I don't think it's real. Anyway, this thing now exists. It doesn't look too great, not gonna lie. And luckily for us, the red team just got a large expand, so I think we know what's gonna happen here. Yep, we're just gonna change the colors from green to orangish, and we're now going back on over to red. So the Mesopotamians take advantage of a distraught situation in the green team and get a ton of land. I think I just said Mesopotamians. I meant to say Macedonians. But then, like I said earlier, we're just gonna push them up north into this unclaimed land, and there we go. Macedonia is now a lot larger and a lot stronger. Now, if you guys haven't noticed already, I can also check the land area of each and every one of these countries. So the purple team is by far the largest, followed by the blue team, then the pink team, and then finally we have the green team. Then after that, it gets kind of close between these countries, but I would say that probably the red team is the next largest, followed by the brown team, and then the yellow team, and so on and so forth. Anyway, we get the brown team again, and I'm super skeptical to draw this card. We got a medium expand. Okay, they're finally going to expand. These poor guys haven't moved an inch the entire video, but their time has finally come, as they're going to be pushing inland into Anatolia. I know this might be kind of boring, but that's what they do. And here we go. The brown team now looks something like this. And then for our final turn of the video, we get the orange team here. We're going to select them, draw a card, and they get a medium expand. So let's go ahead and push them further into Anatolia over here. Maybe thicken up their coast. And there we go. So zooming out a ton here, going apparently into the ocean of nothingness. We can see the entire European map, but we're not too focused on what that's looking like. We're more so focused on what we have so far, and what we have so far is the beginnings of a very, very special civilization. I think that this could go a very long way, and obviously, you know, episode per episode or part per part. But like I said, you guys do seem to be enjoying this series or this mini series or these Doodle Empire videos. So once again, if you guys do want to see more, make sure to leave a like on this video, and also be sure to get a friend to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Or if you're new around here, of course, make sure to subscribe. You've watched this entire video, that means you probably liked it, unless you're like the biggest hater in history and you just find joy in watching me make videos, which at that point you're not a hater. You're a fan. And with that, you can join the membership program, get early access to each and every single AdizzPro video that is posted on this channel, get access to the special members only Discord server. I do want to say real quick, thank you all so much for the support in double daily upload week. I just got back from vacation, so I was away from YouTube. So I really haven't posted a video since double daily upload week, which is why I'm saying once again, thank you all so much for the support from that here, instead of, you know, in the videos last week. That was super successful, and honestly, I think that we're going to do daily upload weeks a lot more often in the future. I don't know why I haven't done one in a while, but expect a few more, maybe one more this year. Anyway, once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. And of course, thank you to all our super fans. This includes Serminator, IC Static FN, CTG on YT, Igsco, Euroball, Augusto, A Norwegian, RS, Gail Martinez, America and Canada and UK, Zaylance, the leader of the AZO, Freezioi, Laser Taze, Pablo Sigma Cat, Death Strider X, Hammer Toad 45, and of course, DW Cool Dude. Once again, thank you guys.